Kia ora whānau. This short video will outline some of the key injustices surrounding Shelly Bay. It is by no means the full, sad and sorry saga, but will hopefully address some of the main issues. In 2009, the Port Nicholson Block Settlement Trust purchased Shelly Bay from the Crown for $15 million on behalf of Taranaki Whānui iwi members. Shelly Bay, the crowning jewel of the Wellington waterfront, was now rightfully back in the hands of iwi, whom it had been stolen from over a century ago. In June 2014, a special housing accord was signed by Wellington City Council and the Crown's Housing Minister, and in June 2015, an order in Wellington City Council was issued and included Shelly Bay land. Taranaki Whānui iwi members were unaware that their land had been approved for housing development. Later in October of 2015, further sign-off by the Wellington City Council occurred for a second area of Shelly Bay. Again, this was all done without knowledge or approval from iwi. On December the 22nd, 2015, Port Nicholson Block Settlement Trust and the Commercial Board, both entities that were meant to be managing the trust's assets on behalf of iwi members, proposed a special resolution to sell Shelly Bay, saying they needed the money. Given that the property was considered a major transaction, PNBST needed approval from the owners to legally sell the land. The matter was put to iwi to vote on, whether to sell Shelly Bay or to hold on to the precious whenua. Sadly, thousands of iwi members did not get a say in the sale of Shelly Bay due to failings of the PNBST membership system, as a report by the Māori Land Court in 2020 found. 2,752 people had their application to become a registered iwi member declined, many of them without a clear reason as to why. Another 9,139 registered iwi members were dropped or lost from the PNBST database. A large number of lost potential voters were unable to have their say. Despite the fact that many iwi members were unable to vote, on February the 9th, 2016, PNBST and the Commercial Board lost the special vote to sell Shelly Bay. Iwi owners soundly voted no to the sale. Against the will of its own people, PNBST trustees and directors secretly commenced alternative actions to sell Shelly Bay behind iwi backs. Concerned that PNBST was secretly moving to sell Shelly Bay, on October the 15th, 2016, at the PNBST annual general meeting, iwi members moved a unanimous motion for the trustees to immediately cease all sale activity relating to Shelly Bay. The iwi owners were later told by the trustees that they were not bound by the AGM motion and continued to ignore the wishes of their own people. In April 2016, iwi members sent a letter to Ian Castles advising his company that Shelly Bay was not for sale. There was no reply. In October 2016, iwi members sent another letter to Ian Castles advising of the annual general meeting motion to cease all sales activities for Shelly Bay. Again, there was no reply. On July the 7th, 2017, PNBST secretively sold 3 separate blocks of Shelly Bay land to Castles, the Wellington Company Group. Shelly Bay had previously been valued at $23.6 million. The 3 blocks of prime waterfront property were sold to developer Ian Castles for only $2 million in total, not each. The 4th and final block of land was later also sold to Castles for $10 million. The sales were not disclosed to Taranaki iwi members by the trustees. In 2019, Mo Whenua, on behalf of Taranaki Whānui iwi members, filed proceedings in the High Court seeking orders to bring the blocks of land located at Shelly Bay, formerly owned by PNBST, back into Taranaki Whānui iwi ownership. The case will be heard in the High Court in March 2021. Ian Castles, however, has vowed to begin development work at Shelly Bay immediately. despite the issue of ownership being before the courts. On November the 11th, 2020, Wellington City councillors voted whether to sell 0.3 hectares and lease 0.6 hectares of public land at Shelly Bay to Ian Kessel's company. Councillors heard from many aggrieved Taranaki whānui leaders who opposed the sale and lease. The sale and lease vote passed after 3 councillors voted for it, even after making pre-election statements that they would vote no. They were Diane Colvert, Terry O'Neill and Jenny Condi. The Ian Kessels-led development still faces 2 court hurdles: a High Court case arguing that the sale of Taranaki whānui iwi land at Shelly Bay was unlawful, and a judicial review of the resource consent process. Despite this, Kessels told Radio New Zealand's Morning Report he would not be slowed down. Quote, "We are starting next week anyway, being Monday the 23rd of November, he said. Despite the whisperings of some, Mo Whenua are not anti-development. We represent iwi members and others who oppose the current development proposal at Shelly Bay. High-density housing for the high-end market is not the answer for the stunning whenua. There is an alternative vision concept for Shelly Bay and the northern end of Te Motu Kairangi, one that protects our fragile coastline, ecosystem, flora and fauna, and allows the whenua to be enjoyed by all for generations to come. It is also extremely important to know that this is not a joint venture between the developer Ian Kessels and iwi. Iwi members hold no shares in his company, nor will profit from its build. The $500 million proposed development benefits the developer and the developer only, and perhaps those rich enough to buy a waterfront apartment there. Mo Whenua, on behalf of Taranaki whānui, now occupies Shelly Bay and will continue to do so until the injustices are resolved and the precious whenua is returned to the rightful people. We invite all those that support an alternative vision for Shelly Bay to join in this peaceful occupation or to simply visit and tautoko. Ngā mihi.